Hi, it's Olivia, and it's also time for another book haul, this time for the month of March. How has your year been going for reading? For me, I feel like it's been kind of average. I wish I'd been reading, it's average in terms of how much I've read. Like there's so many more books that I'd hoped to get to already, but I do feel like I've been enjoying my reads this year so far. So I'd love to know how your reading year is going. And without further ado, let's get started with today's book haul. So starting us out is Grey Mist Fair by Francesca Zappia. And she is also the author of the book Eliza and Her Monsters. I remember reading that a couple years ago, and I remember thinking that one, I think I read it very quickly, and two, it was very unique. Like there's a very unique style to it. And that seems to be the case in a lot of her other work, so it's nice to see her come out with more stuff. And in this one, we have a kind of dark, fantastical combination of that suspenseful murder mystery and also a twisted fairy tale. So this story takes place in this secluded village, and it's really looking at the dynamics of all the villagers who live there, the emotional dynamics, magical, and even murderous. And as the tagline says, no one ever leaves. No one ever leaves. So this village sounds, I gotta be honest, sounds concerning. Yeah, you know, it's got this very concerning looking mist shaped into skeleton hands. So if you're a fan of like the dark and creepy fairy tales and you want a really inventive read, then this is for you, as well as if you're a fan of any of the author's other works. And another fun fact is that this book also includes the author's own artwork dispersed throughout the story, as well as a map of the Grey Mist Fair. So next up I have the Sinister Booksellers of Bath by Garth Nix, and this is actually the conclusion to a duology, with the first book being called The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, a title which I enjoy as a left-handed individual. So I'm not going to tell you too many details as usual because it is a sequel, but the story is a mix of fantasy and also murder mystery. Again, so if that's your vibe, then so far this book haul already is in your favor. We're following our main characters as they are trying to track down this supernatural serial killer. So with that, with the conclusion being out, it's a perfect time to get into this duology. So next up I have A Long Stretch of Bad Days by Mindy McGinnis. And again, for those who are enjoying like the murder mystery type stuff, this is again for you, because in this, our main characters, our teen girls, have this podcast show in which they are trying to solve this unsolved murder from their town's history, but in doing so, they have now become the target of the killer who's still out there. And this takes place in this small town that, in the wake of a long stretch of bad days, I'll read it as it says specifically here, the long stretch of bad days, a week when Henley was hit by a tornado and a flash flood, as well as its first and only murder, which remains unsolved, which is what they're working on. But in the wake of that, there's all these secrets coming out as well. So this one's got your small town mystery thriller vibes. Next up I have Flowerheart by Catherine Bakewell, which is actually a standalone fantasy, which I love. I love a good, like, while I enjoy like hunkering down for a ride with a very long fantasy series, it's also very nice to have a standalone fantasy book. And this one, as if you can't tell from the vibes of the cover, is this very cozy, floral, cottagecore fantasy. And I'll just read you, I like this blurb on the back. It says, Bakewell's unique magical world, beautiful prose, and childhood friends to strangers to lovers romance casts an undeniable spell. So this one has, you know, this swooning, very broody love interest who on the outside is very guarded, but actually cares very deeply for our main character. And so if you want to get into that romance, if you want these vibes, these fantasy vibes, you got to pick this one up. So next I have While You Were Dreaming by the best-selling author Alicia Rai. And we got a love triangle in here. We've got a very swoony love triangle in here where our main character Sonia is caught between her feelings for her very long-time crush, but also that crush's older brother. And so while we've got that juicy triangle going on, we also have a very poignant look at family relationships, and particularly the first generation immigrant experience. And this one, I'll read you the very top of the synopsis. Nothing complicates a crush like a random act of heroism. Basically, she like saves her crush, but she's wearing a costume and she runs away before like he gets a good look at her, but it was caught on video and then the video goes viral. There's all sorts of stuff going on in this story. So she's dealing with her crushes and secret identity, so we've got a lot of fun stuff going on in this one. And last but as usual, not least, I have Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood, and with this cover I just adore. I love how her face blends and like merges with the waves. It's just very pretty. So this one actually includes another love triangle, a bisexual love triangle, and I wanted to read the back. It says, her life to appease a god, his life to save a kingdom, her lies to destroy them all. And I have to read this blurb because it seems like it really sums it up really well. It says, gorgeous, tragic, and timeless, Lies We Sing to the Sea makes an age-old story feel new again. This book will break your heart and you'll be grateful for it. And that is such a bookworm thing, you know, hey, this book broke my heart, read it. So that brings me to the end of this book haul. Let me grab all of the books once more. But this one had a lot of fantasy and or murder mystery, which is very cool, especially if those are the things you're interested in. As usual, if you're interested in any of these books, the links to them will be in the description. You can also feel free to reach out to your local library, see if they have them or request them. And I'd love to know what you're reading, what you're up to. And thank you for watching. I will see you in another video. Bye.